Hey, folks. Before the show kicks off, I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you and first say, well, for one, thank you for clicking and listening, whether you randomly stumbled upon our little MMA podcast on YouTube, or if you know me or Brandon personally and you happen to follow the spicy link in either of our Instagram stories. Either way, we really appreciate you being here. Secondly, I wanted to apologize for this episode being so late. We recorded this on Wednesday, March 29th, and by the time you're hearing this, it'll probably be like 9 days after the event that we're recapping took place. So obviously that's not ideal, but I'd like to explain why. This past week has been a rough one for my family. My 18-year-old nephew has very recently been diagnosed with stage 2 testicular cancer. So as you can imagine, my family is going through it right now. I'm trying to be there for them, and obviously editing this episode of The Fight Plug really fell down my list of things to do this past week. And it's not lost on me that this is some pretty bad timing to share that kind of news, considering mine and Brandon's really awful April Fool's post joking about Brandon passing away. I know, talk about tonal whiplash, right? I'm sorry to anybody who fell for that, by the way. Ironically, Brandon is not at all sorry, but that's okay. I'll be sorry for the both of us. But moving forward, we still intend to keep our regular schedule. This podcast is an escape for me, an opportunity to express myself, and a source of a lot of good belly laughs as I get to chop it up with Brandon about MMA once a week. So we're not going anywhere. But the last thing I wanted to mention, and don't feel obligated, but I left a link in the description to a GoFundMe page that my sister and I set up to help with some of the financial costs of my nephew's ongoing treatment. My family has learned more about testicular cancer in the past week than we ever thought we would, and I'm happy to learn that compared to other forms of cancer, testicular cancer is very treatable. So we're hopeful that he'll be good and make a full recovery as long as he gets the treatment that he needs. But naturally, there's a lot of stress about the oncoming financial burden, so believe me when I say that any amount, no matter how small, would be greatly appreciated. And even if you can't donate, words of encouragement are more than welcome. We love you just the same for having my nephew and my family in your hearts during this difficult time. But I won't keep you much longer. I just wanted to mention that. Now strap yourselves in for a very mediocre recap of a very mediocre UFC Fight Night card. And we'll see you very soon after this one to break down UFC 287, Adesanya versus Pereira 2, or technically 4. But as always, keep it here. So tell me, Brandon.
Yeah.
Did your Sacramento Kings light the beam this evening?
They did. And
is that why you were late to the podcast?
Yes, actually it was. I'm usually late for way worse reasons too. But this time, yeah, I was like, all of a sudden, all my Sacramento Kings friends and family just want to talk to me about it. I've been a fucking Kings fan like 27 years. And
I've never experienced being able to like call someone a bandwagon fan in the context of MMA. It's just not something that happens. I feel like I might be a little too niche of a fan where it's like most people just don't get on the bandwagons that I'm on anyways.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was a pretty interesting phenomenon with other sports where it's like fucking bandwagon fans. Like even now, it's so annoying because at my new place of work, people, all like the guys ask me like, "Hey, you watch football or whatever? Who's your team?" And I tell them the Bengals, and I immediately get the sense that they think that I'm a bandwagon fan. It's because like, yeah, I get it, guy. For one, you don't ever see Bengals fans anywhere around here, and then all of a sudden now, but it's like, fuck you. You drive a forklift, guy.
Yeah. Hey, tighten up that back brace there, Greg. No, but yeah, it was exciting, man. It's been a long 16 years since they've been to the playoffs, dude. Pretty
16
fucking
years.
wild.
Dang. My brother-in-law is a Sacramento Kings fan.
Oh wow.
And so
That's great.
I do remember when they were like in the playoffs and stuff, like in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
I think.
like 01, 02, 03, 04,
Yeah.
05, yeah.
And I hadn't paid attention to
Damn, son.
and I hadn't paid attention to basketball like at all
Yeah.
since then. So I just kind of figured that they were probably like still good or something. So, but are they like you said they're in the playoffs now? Did they barely get into the playoffs or
No, they could still be the 2 seed. They were the 2 seed. They had kind of a rough bit of luck this week with like injuries and stuff, and then they're not pushing too many guys. So
right on.
yeah, so they're the 3 seed in a pretty ruthless ass Western. Because everybody talks shit like at the All-Star break, like, and then the Suns traded for Kevin Durant, Denver traded for Kyrie Irving, the fucking Lakers traded for everybody, and so you're like, well, the Kings had a nice run, but now the adults are gonna, and it's like, okay, well, we'll see.
Now the adults. Oh my god.
That's what I kept hearing. Yeah.
Who are the current pile-on teams?
It would be like the Kings, the Suns. Have you heard the story about the Suns and that, like, how their luck turned around?
No. Oh, their luck, right? With money, they turned it around.
No. No. There's this chick that went on. Have you heard of that No Jumper podcast?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this chick went on No Jumper.
Okay, but before I let you go on,
Yeah.
I'm only aware of No Jumper because of that guy's girlfriend, Lena the Plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about her a lot more than I know about him, but yeah, I know
I mean,
of
if
him.
you've seen her work, you've seen his work.
Yeah,
if you
pretty
know
much.
What I mean. Yeah, no, I mean, they used to be pretty. I don't want to say credible, but they used to have really good interviews. But now it's kind of like, okay, what is this? But the reason I'm talking about it is there was a chick that went on there and told, like, pretty much outed all these dudes. I guess she was, I don't know where she was, but she just told the story because they have like OnlyFans like stars on there, or like Instagram girls, like and she was talking about the story where she was like, she was dating a guy, or not dating a guy, but getting slammed out by some dude from the Suns.
I like how that
and then
that escalated. Well, not dating her, getting slammed out.
Yeah, and then I guess some of his boys walked in the hotel room, and then she was like, "Hey, what the hell?" And then they're like, "Oh, they play with her, my teammates." And then so she's like, "So I throated them, and I was taking." She like throated all of them and shit. And then, like, how just how like the internet works now.
Mm-hmm.
So like dudes found it and then like looked up what was going on, and they're looking up like the time and date of when this would have happened, because it was at NBA Summer League, which is in Las Vegas. So they broke down who was where or when and the date, and so they named all 7 of the dudes that were there.
The internet got to work.
Yeah. And then I guess Devin Booker, who's on the Suns, dates Kendall Jenner, and then like after that story came out, like he had like broke up with her, I think, for a little bit. I guess he's back. So everyone's like, Devin was definitely on that throat line, and and so, but then that year after that came out, like they just flipped and they went to the playoffs.
That reminds me of how the internet, or somebody, it's easy to just be like the internet, but somebody kind of did the research and figured out what day Ice Cube was referring to in his song "Today Was a Good Day." Like they actually figured out that it must have actually been this day because he was on the set of Friday and this and that, and then I forgot who the basketball game that he references in the song and everything too, and they even got down to the weather and stuff. But my point was this about figuring out what guys were getting throated. That's way more valuable and useful knowledge.
And then everyone was like outing like married, because some of those players are married or in like relationships and stuff. And so they were just, dude, it was like that fucking It's Always Sunny meme where he has like that wall with all the people and shit. Dang, who's that guy on the internet too? He uses what does he use, like Google Maps or whatever, to find like if someone posts something, he can tell by like the type of electric plugs that they have in their wall and like the fucking the moldings on there, and then he uses like where they are, then he uses Google Maps to figure out exactly like where they are and shit.
4chan was doing something similar back when
Shia LaBeouf.
Yes, yeah, they kept on spamming him and finding like his flags or something and replacing him with me.
No, he was doing the Donald Trump "He will not divide us."
And they were putting
"He will not divide us." Yeah.
Pepe the Frog flags instead, but they were figuring that shit out because like based off of cloud formations and shit, because it would literally just be
constellations, like where the stars, and then they geolocated it by the stars,
and they'd have some guy just driving. Once they kind of narrowed it down, they'd just have somebody driving through a neighborhood honking their horn, and they'd be like, "Yes, we hear it. You're getting close." I'm just like, "Fuck, man, that is very, very fucking." That's borderline creepy. But that's cool that those basketball players got throated though. I hope that really like boosts their team morale, and I hope that
it was a team building experience. And this chick was straight trash. Like listening to her talk.
Were they all from the same team?
Yeah, they were all from the Suns. And they're like, it must have been because she was talking about her birthday. It was like on her birthday. And so they found like through her site like what her birthday was, and they're like, okay, so it was definitely Summer League, because Summer League was this day, which was her birthday in Las Vegas, where they were staying in this hotel because one of the Suns players had posted something online where he was like checking in, like he had put like the, you know how you can like put where you're at or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, so he was definitely involved. It was crazy, dude.
Well, I hope they score a lot of touchdowns or whatever. All right.
Sorry. The guy's name. I'm going to show you who it is.
Welcome to the world of GeoGuessr.
GeoGuessr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you seen the memes of this guy?
Players guess where they are on a Google map based on one screenshot.
Creepy.
Wire talk to GeoGuessr.
GeoGuessr.
He can find anybody. He can find any based on like their pictures that they send.
Dog the Bounty Hunter has that guy in his little black book for sure. That's probably how he came to fame.
You smoking ice, brother?
Hit him again, Leland. Hit him with the taser, Leland.
Oh, dude, I've always wanted to tell Ty Tuivasa that. Like, if we ever see him, like, hit him again, Leland, because he's like totally like one of the dudes that would be in the back of the expedition, just smoking a cigarette, praying with dog.
All right, let's get into this fight night card, man.
Yeah,
it's Marlon Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen. High level bantamweight action.
It was.
Yeah, and not a whole ton else. I've been thinking,
Nate Landwehr, the train.
There was some stuff on this card. There's a lot of controversy. There's some stuff for us to take a bite of.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was thinking it might be a short episode, but we can stretch this a little bit. But I was thinking I want to start. What do you think about us giving cards letter grades moving forward? So at the end of every one, we'll just be like, "What, Brandon? What's your grade? What's my
like fight night grades?" Because I mean, like UFCs are kind of like, I feel like hit and miss anyway. I mean, I'm down to give every single card.
I'm down to do every card, and maybe we'll put a little asterisk on there and clarify that we're pretty much only grading the main card, I guess. But then again, maybe we might get into the weeds a little bit with situations where the main card wasn't all that, but there was a lot of bangers on the prelims. I don't know. But I didn't watch the prelims of this card because it was this card.
Yeah.
But the bantamweight fight, the headliner between Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Vera, it wasn't quite the banger that we were expecting it to be. But it was intriguing. You were right. You were absolutely right about Corey Sandhagen. You picked Corey, right? Over Marlon Vera.
By the decision, yes.
Yeah, Marlon Vera starting slow, kind of taking the early rounds off, just not really having too much output. Kind of seemed to bite him in the ass in this fight.
Right.
Corey Sandhagen was sticking and moving a lot and using a lot of lateral movement and just wasn't there for the big shots from Marlon Vera. Did you score any round for Marlon Vera?
None. Okay. Not one. I mean, what did he really do? He had like one good elbow. I think I mentioned it to you in the chat, was like, what the fuck? He took like 100 and some shots in one round, or what was it, like 71? It was like 71-3 or something. And Sandhagen looked like he got fucking jumped when he was, and Cheetah looked like he took no damage. It was the craziest. They really need to look up like what's going on with this guy's like
his elbows.
Genetics.
He's got fucking razors in his elbows.
Well, I mean, a lot of people could get cut by an elbow, but he just was taking elbows to the head. He was taking punches to the face, and was not showing any damage whatsoever. It was crazy.
Yeah, and the cut you're referring to, it was an instance where Corey Sandhagen had him down. I think it was in the second round. It was in one of the earlier rounds. And Marlon Vera, from a position that we know he's dangerous in, his ability to win rounds off of his back is second to none. Like, this guy, he pretty much figures, okay, if you're going to put me in this bad situation, I'm going to make it miserable for you. And we've seen him do that in fights that I didn't think he was going to be able to do that. And he kind of, I wouldn't say he won anything off of his back here, but he managed to stick Corey Sandhagen with a really nasty elbow right on the top of the head, and that's where it seemed to cut him open. Other than that, Marlon Vera landed a pretty solid punch in round 3, and the commentary team was all over that. They just kept, as soon as it landed, they're like, that was the most significant punch of the fight. And I'm wondering if that was something that kind of swayed the judges. It at least swayed
I think
viewers.
the judge that voted it was just chilling all night long, or chilling for that whole fight, and then just goes, oh fuck, like picking C all the way down on your test. Because he just looked at Sandhagen's face and was like, well, how did that guy win? Right. I guarantee you he just goes, there's no chance. I didn't see any, like, I guarantee you he probably, but that wasn't the judge, that was the ref, right? Which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
No, yeah, this was Mike Oneja, I believe was the name.
Mike Ojeda.
Ojeda, there you go. Yeah, Ojeda. Yeah. Who gave the last 3 rounds 3, 4, and 5 to Marlon Vera. And like I said, maybe if he overheard the commentary team like just blowing their wad over that one punch that Marlon Vera landed in round 3, I could understand them giving round 3.
I think they probably don't score it as significantly as they should, or as, like, they don't use as much of a discerning eye as they should. They're probably just kind of like watching it passively, and then get swayed by like how long this guy was down for, maybe, or how much damage the guy looked like he took in between rounds. Cheetah was standing up the entire time, right? Like, he didn't sit down the entire time. Like, I didn't realize that kind of shit, I guess, can. That's the only thing I can see, because by watching a fight as a pure, just as a, I can't even wrap my head around how. I still haven't. It's a week out, and I have no idea how that guy. I was like, well, let's try and find this.
Yeah.
How did this guy do it? All I could tell you was, well, Cheeto stood up in between rounds. Corey looked a little more bloody, and there was a couple of surges, like at the end of each round when he was like desperate.
Yeah, especially at the end of round 5, Marlon Vera really started to turn it on, like for the last 15 to 20 seconds of the 5th round. Like, he went on the offensive, didn't seemingly hurt Corey Sandhagen, but at that point, I'm sure Corey knew, like, no, I'm winning this already. I'm not just going to like be dumb and engage with you and decide to swing in the pocket with you in the very last moments of the fight. So I think I mean, maybe if they saw Corey Sandhagen kind of retreating and getting on his bike in those last moments, they probably thought something landed that didn't. But yeah, definitely probably the worst mainstream judging scorecard that we've seen so far in 2023.
By a long shot, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not the last that we're going to be talking about the Texas Athletic Commission, because holy fuck, there was a lot bad here. And we'll just, fuck it, we'll talk about it right now. The gentleman named, damn it, now I'm forgetting his name. I totally had his name memorized all week.
For the specific,
yeah,
just shit the bed.
But he was reffing a fight on Friday night for Fury FC, where one gentleman was caught in a triangle and was put completely out. And I rewatched it and counted. He was out for a full 15 seconds. This referee was right
Frank
there.
Collazo?
Is it Collazo?
Collazo,
Yeah. Okay. So Frank is like a foot away watching it, has a clear view of this fighter's face. Everybody in the building can see that this guy is
like
completely
he was on a
out.
Ventilator.
Yeah.
He looked like he was like, like he was like dead.
Yeah. There was no blood getting to that brain whatsoever. And then his body starts to twitch, and Frank Collazo, the referee, just decides, oh, that must mean he's awake. And it was crazy. If I stopped to think about it, and in a way, I think that the guy who had and I apologize for not knowing the fighters' names, the guy who had the triangle locked in must have at some point, like, his humanity might have kicked in, like, beyond being like, oh, I'm in MMA fighter mode. And he probably decided, like, okay, if this referee's not going to stop this guy's going to wake up mentally challenged if he just lets me, like, keep this triangle.
Vasquez is the fighter who was out, and he broke his arm, right?
Yeah, and he decides, like, okay, if the referee's not going to call this, I'll do I'll do the humane thing and switch to a triangle armbar and snap this guy's fucking arm while he's asleep
to wake him up.
It was the worst, dude. I don't think I've ever seen something so vicious in terms of a referee just not seeing an issue with there. And then
that's Kumite rules, dude. That's like straight fucking Kumite rules.
Yeah, that was some Shang Tsung shit, dude.
Yeah.
Shang Tsung. And then the next night on this UFC card, that guy's judging fights. The Texas Commission didn't decide to
they've been bad for a long time, right?
It's been an issue, and it hasn't really been something I picked up on so much, but yeah, this is a big talking point among all, like, MMA talking heads in the media space about just how bad the Texas Commission is, because that moment that we're talking about on that Fury FC card, that went viral. A ton of people saw, like, people who don't watch MMA saw that and was like, what the fuck is this sport?
The way he was breathing, like his back was heaving in that, when he was in that choke, was scary, because it looked like someone on a ventilator on, like, life support.
And I looked it up, and apparently your brain can go without blood for something like 30 minutes without any like super serious repercussion. But I think that might be like in a medical setting. I think that, you know, that's not necessarily like, okay, you could just like cut off the blood to someone's brain, like in the schoolyard, and it's exactly the same. I think, you know, like if you're doing like brain surgery or something like that, like you can set up a patient so that they're technically not getting blood to the brain. So I don't know if that necessarily applies in an MMA cage. So
I know Walt Disney being his head being frozen somewhere is banking on that. He doesn't need blood rushing to there to come back.
Is it just the head? It's separate from the body, or
Ted Williams? There's a few people, but like Ted Williams, like the greatest baseball hitter of all time, he's frozen, and supposedly they're fixing the chamber that he's like cryogenically frozen in, and the guy that was fixing it dropped a wrench in it, and so there's a wrench is frozen to Ted Williams' head.
I hope our great grandchildren get to see Ted Williams play baseball again someday.
And that's the reason why that movie Disney, they made that movie and they called it Frozen, because people would Google Disney Frozen or Walt Disney Frozen to like read about him. So like the kind of like memory hole that they made the movie Frozen. So when you look up Walt Disney Frozen, you see the movie first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway,
Sure, that's all verified. So yeah, the Texas Athletic Commission not doing their due diligence, didn't look at this guy, almost let a dude die in the cage, and just decided, hey, let's have you judge fights on the highest, on the biggest stage for the biggest promotion in mixed martial arts. And now I'm not going to say that he judged the Macy Barber Andrea Lee fight. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't a robbery. I wouldn't use the word robbery. Because people think Macy Barber won the fight. I think a lot more people thought Andrea Lee won the fight. I
was one that thought Andrea Lee won that fight.
Yeah, and I'm there with you. I thought she won the fight too. But he is one of the judges that scored it for Macy Barber. Yeah. And so that's enough for me to be like, nah, that's Fugazi.
Yeah. It's such a trip how like things are kind of going, because I think I've used this analogy or used this like personal anecdote as like, I remember being a kid and then thinking like my parents are just so smart and they know everything. And so every adult must just be super smart and just know everything. And then you're like 16 and it's like your first job and you're working with like a 34-year-old and you're like, dude, you're fucking hella off, dude. And then like you start seeing your parents make mistakes. They're like, what were the mistakes they were making? It's like, you don't realize that like sometimes you're just like putting faith and trust. Like the UFC is the greatest or the biggest MMA promotion in the planet. Like there's no leaks in that ship, so everything is like an army. Mm-hmm. And it's like, nah, dude, they just don't care. They're just like, oh, you ref, you have your certification for this and this. The commission says you're good. Come on down, Frank.
The guy has a badge. No one's died in the cage yet. Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm kind of like, for the longest time, I had the opposite problem, or maybe not exactly the opposite problem.
Trust adults at all?
No, where I just kind of kept assuming that people were older than me, even as I got up in age, where, you know, and then I had to start like being like, oh no, you're my age. You know, I just kind of felt like everybody had more responsibilities than me still.
Yeah. Childish wonder.
Yeah. But now I feel like I've finally crossed the threshold to where now everybody actually feels younger than me. Or they're ancient, and I feel like, how did you survive to be this old?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird. Like it just makes you wonder like how close. It's kind of a freaky thing because like how close are they to just create straight up catastrophe? Mm-hmm. Like remember the lights went out? Didn't the lights go out in London for like a little bit?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, so the lights went out. So how close are they to just like something wild happening? You know what I mean? Like one of the doctors is like got his certification like at some like Better Call Saul type of call.
Or when you hear those stories about like those, you're frozen on my screen. Can you hear me? Oh, we might have lost Brandon. Okay, and we're back.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I was looking up that meme of that doctor. Remember, he was the fake doctor.
Oh yeah,
that black kid with the glasses, and then he had that.
Well, there's that kid too. Now that's some serious catch me if you can shit right there. That is just like, no, I could be a doctor.
They said that guy's not real. That he even lied about that.
About
Frank Abagnale. Because that movie, Catch Me If You Can, was supposed to be based on a real guy, and that real guy's life story is completely fake. And they ran a news story. I was reading a news story about it. I guess there was like nothing. Everything he said was like completely wrong. And I guess some federal charges that he had been on were like completely fake too.
It did seem a little convenient and too much of a happy ending at the end. This like, you know, we're so good at bullshitting, we're gonna pay you to help us figure out other bullshitters. Because he was like, it all started off with like a fake check cashing scam, right? You're frozen again. All right,
So we're like, how fucking just inept is the UFC? They can't even fucking.
They've probably been moments away from disaster at so many occasions.
Yeah.
I was about to talk to that point. I was about to say that I think that the whole James Krause thing was probably as close as they've come to disaster in a while. And I don't
The
think
whole with him banging Laura Sanko.
with the bet. Well, that's a win.
Was that? Did you know about that?
I have heard accusations.
Yeah.
I've heard like people mention some stuff in relation to all the Megan Anderson drama. Also, I think that there some parties involved may have made mention of that. But about the betting thing, because I'd say about like a third of the UFC's income is all from DraftKings right now. Is from their whole like betting. It's their ESPN deal, DraftKings, and pay-per-view doesn't even matter anymore. It's just the cherry on top of the Sundays now. So, yeah, I think that was probably like the biggest blow that could have potentially hurt their pockets in a while, which is why they were so quick to rectify that and just be like, nope, everybody who fights for him, you're gone. We need to get back into business with DraftKings right now because we're
You're gonna
not
have to suck cock on camera to like,
yeah, because as long as we're banned in certain provinces, like we are not holding up our end of the deal with DraftKings, and that is the moneymaker. That's why the WWE is trying to set it up so people can bet on fucking scripted pro wrestling now because everybody wants a piece of that pie. That is what it's all about, and I think that's the reason why Dana's doing the whole power slap stuff too, because he just needs to put out some kind of content
avenue to bet on.
He just put meat out there. It's cheap as fuck. He's paying them practically nothing, and the average viewer can just tune in and be like, okay, well, I'll bet on the big guy.
Yeah.
But anyways,
people bet on like cricket at like 3 a.m. or like Korean baseball that comes on at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. So let's see. Where did we leave off on this card? Let's go back to this Corey Sandhagen Marlon Vera main event though, because it's kind of a shame that we were talking more about the judging controversy than the actual fight itself. And we talked about the fight, we talked about how it went, but let's kind of look into a little bit of the aftermath or the potential aftermath. Marlon Vera is going to have to go back to the drawing board a bit, but he's not going to have any shortage of options of fights that he can run back with people. Corey Sandhagen, interestingly enough, in his post-fight interview, called out Merab Dvalishvili, of all people, which fucking props to Corey Sandhagen because I didn't think anybody was going to be saying that guy's name ever.
With the Caucasian, we mentioned the Caucasian trash talk. Listen, pal. You're not gonna like how this tastes, bud.
I hope that they make that fight. I think that's an interesting, entertaining fight.
It's Umar Nurmagomedov, right? Isn't Umar going to be fighting Rob now?
That's what they're angling towards, or at least that's what I've been seeing posted everywhere. So the UFC seems like they're dead set on punishing Merab for this whole fiasco at bantamweight. And it's just still weird to me why they're so upset about it. I get it. It's not an ideal situation. But it's like, to me, I was talking with Mike about this the other day, and I thought to myself, like, if, let's say, Beneil Dariush and Islam were buddies, and they trained together, and they were, like, best friends, and Beneil Dariush said, I will not fight Islam Makhachev, I feel like the UFC or Dana would just be like, okay, we don't give a shit.
Bilal was like, dude, me and fucking Usman or me and Leon Edwards are just like boys, dude. Oh, I respect that.
All right. But with Merab, they're taking that shit personal. And it might be because they don't like him or Aljo, possibly. They just kind of don't want either of them at the top because but whatever metrics they use, neither of them are move the needle for them, possibly. Because, like, I get it. I get the idea that if you have a guy like that at the top of your division or the number one guy under the champion, it's not ideal because they could be knocking off up and coming contenders, but you just don't make the guys that you want to be contenders fight him. Like Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili makes all the sense in the world right now. Right. They're just not going to make Sean O'Malley fight him. They're going to just decide to, but if somebody else comes up that they don't like, who is not a popular fighter, if a Bilal type of guy starts to come up at bantamweight, and then we're like, okay, now you have to fight Merab. That's
right.
just, I see it as more of a tool for the UFC than anything. But yeah, Corey Sandhagen, it sounds like he's probably not going to have to do that Merab thing. But what do you see for him moving forward if he's not going to have to fight Merab? Like what fight do you think makes sense for him at the top of this bantamweight division? I could pull up the bantamweight rankings if you need me to
Merab. No, Merab's really the only, because if Umar and Merab are gonna fight, like what else does he really have to do? I guess it would be Sandhagen and O'Malley.
Sandhagen and O'Malley makes a lot of sense, and especially since Sean O'Malley, like the future is uncertain for him too, with Cejudo and Aljamain about to lock horns. Yeah, I think that would be a fun one. I mean, you certainly don't want to do Corey Sandhagen versus Peter Yan again. I mean, even if Corey Sandhagen wants to run that one back, I suppose. But yeah, at looking at the topology rankings, it's Aljo, Merab, Sandhagen, O'Malley, and those could be interchangeable, at 3 and 4. Peter Yan they still have at number 5, which is kind of surprising. I thought they would have him lower. Chito Vera drops to number 6. Song Yadong at number 7. Yadong and Ricky Simon are going to fight. Has Corey Sandhagen fought Song Yadong?
Yes. He beat him.
Yeah, that was his most recent one before Chito Vera. So, yeah, that's too recent to run that one back. It's nothing.
That was
for
like
Corey.
a Corey Sandhagen, like get right fight. I thought, right?
Yeah, that was after he was coming off of his 2 losses to Peter Yan and T.J. Dillashaw, respectively.
He beat T.J. Dillashaw.
So yeah, I would love to see Corey Sandhagen versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. I think that'd be a great fight. I hope they do that.
Yeah, I do too, but I doubt it. It makes too much sense.
It does make too much sense. All right. In the co-main event, Holly Holm, Yana Santos, formerly Yana Kunitskaya. Holly Holm, at the ripe old age of 41, fucking putting the boots to Yana Santos.
That was a dominating performance.
Did anything about that performance make you think that, or kind of inspire, or make you excited for another potential Holly Holm versus Amanda Nunes fight?
No, but I was just excited for her. And they didn't play the Ronda Rousey replay as much as I thought that they would.
Looking at that fight, I really thought to myself, well, if she puts a game plan together, and especially seeing how rough Amanda Nunes looked, even in getting her title back from Juliana Pena, because we've seen the kind of beatings that Amanda Nunes can put on girls, and after she lost the belt to Pena and then came back, I mean, that second fight, she was beating Pena all over the cage and knocking her down, just making Pena look like an awful fighter. But she didn't walk away from that fight unscathed. And it made me think that if Holly Holm kind of puts the right game plan together and makes it a dirty fight, she could give Amanda Nunes some problems.
I think it for Amanda Nunes specifically, it's like fighting up or down to her level of competition. And I think Holly is a much tighter technical fighter, that it'll make Amanda fight a more tactical, strategically sound, technically sound fight than she would against whatever it was Penny was doing the last time that they were in there together.
Yeah, Holly Holm now 15-6. She snaps. Well, she's 1-1 in her last 2. She had lost her previous fight in 2022 to Ketlin Vieira. And yeah, she's just kind of in limbo. This bantamweight division just really hasn't gotten any better. It hasn't gotten back to the form that it was in right around the Ronda Rousey era. It just ain't it, Chief. And with Amanda Nunes seemingly having one foot out the door, no fights scheduled for her, no certainty as to who her next opponent is going to be. Really just doesn't inspire a lot in this bantamweight division, and I think it's going to go away soon, man. I've been saying that about featherweight, but I don't want that to be the case for bantamweight, but it's not getting any better, man. It's almost like, to compare it to some of the men's divisions, I feel like strawweight and flyweight are like welterweight level like quality in terms of like, you know, comparing them to the men's divisions, and then as soon as you go up 10 more pounds to bantamweight, then you're talking about heavyweight quality drop off. Like, it's crazy.
No, that makes sense, man. Light heavyweight now.
Yeah, like light heavyweight to heavyweight, but
all respect to Jamal Hill though, but
but in terms of the depth, yeah,
right. No, it's very, very, very top heavy.
Mm-hmm. But man, fucking props to Holly Holm at 41. She looked good. Yeah, she looked fantastic. You can always trust her to come in shape. And let's see, what else are we going to talk about? Nate Landwehr, Austin Lingo. I'm Nate Landwehr. I understand why he's becoming, a crowd favorite, and that was a really nice way for him to turn it around and get it done with the rear naked choke. I'm still not really on the Nate Landwehr bandwagon in terms of him as a fighter in the cage. He seems very stiff.
It's a train.
I think. Oh yeah, you're right. It's a train, not a bandwagon. I think he has a low ceiling, but if you match him up well, I think that he's gonna be. This is a really good placement for him on a card. I think he can start to contribute to numbered pay-per-view events and being like the
feature fight guy.
Exactly. I think there's going to be a lot of value in him there. He reps, was it from Tennessee? I love that. I love, that you always need a really good regional fighter to bring interest to a lot of areas, especially if they're finally going to start getting out. Jesus Christ, that beep.
Did it come back?
that one was with a fury. I haven't really heard any other ones this episode, but that one was like especially loud. But back to Nate Landwehr, especially if the UFC is finally going to start trying to venture out of the apex and going back to more regional cards and putting cards on in different areas. And please give us some more variety than Texas, because they are really loving going back to Texas. But yeah, if they go to Tennessee, man, fucking give me Nate Landwehr on a main event on a Tennessee card. I'll be all about it. Not as excited about just him as a fighter or the work that he does in the ring. He's not exciting, but he just seems very stiff to me, and I think I still don't quite have him fully figured out. Like
Lingo had him like in that first run, especially like he had his number for a bit, and then he just Landwehr turned it around. But I like him. I don't think he's going to be a title contender, but he for sure, just like you said, man, I think you hit it right on the head there with he's going to just kind of be who he is for a while. So, and that's fine.
Yeah. And you know what? I think he's authentic.
That's 100% for sure.
I don't feel like he's putting up a front when he has a certain charisma to him, and it doesn't feel like it is fake or forced or anything like that. He is sincere when he speaks.
They said that he used to like win what did he fight, Brave FC or was it in Russia? That like they loved him in Russia. They didn't just like him.
In M1?
M1, that they were just down for homie out there.
Which, when I heard about that too, that was like, he came from M1, huh? Like, that's so weird. Like, Fedor's old stomping grounds. Like, he's fighting dudes named Viktor Kolesnik and Andrei Lezhnev and Khamzat Delgiev. Like, this was all he was doing, dude. He was just going over there and just crushing Slavs. No, and he doesn't have a bad record either. 17-4. Yeah. I mean, promotionally, he has a high ceiling. Competitively, that's yet to be seen. But I've been proven way, way wrong before. So give me more Nate Landwehr.
Yeah. Me too.
Chidi
Like him.
Njokuani, Albert Duraev. I'm skipping over the Macy Barber Andrea Lee fight because
Yeah.
you know
Nah.
no. Albert Duraev, Chidi Njokuani. Really shocked to see that Chidi Njokuani just doesn't have a jab to throw.
Yeah.
Like what he's got an 80-inch reach, and he had a
Right.
5-inch reach advantage over
He's
Albert
the guy
Duraev
that
in this fight.
cut up RoboCop's forehead, right?
Yeah, he was punishing the shit out of RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez,
Right.
and Albert Duraev wanted nothing of that. And in the first round, Albert Duraev looked like he had the blueprint to handling Chidi Njokuani and took him down. And Chidi just looked like a fish out of water and wasn't able to really. I mean, he got back up to his feet, but Albert Duraev needed to keep putting him there. And so Albert Duraev just wasn't going to be in range for Chidi to land these counter hooks that he wanted to. So he needed something to close the distance, and a jab would have been perfect.
Yeah.
And it sucks to see like a guy with that many tools and that much natural talent and that kind of height and reach advantage not know how to use a jab
To
effectively.
work behind that, yeah.
Yeah.
But in all fairness to him, there's fighters. I mean, it's something that's like tale as old as time in combat sports. Is like guys that don't work behind the jab don't go too far, and then you see guys that do, that can really turn it into like make a name out of themselves, or make a name for themselves, just working behind a decent jab. So.
Yeah, and it's not too late for Chidi. I mean, let me see, he is 34 years old. As a middleweight, that is not ancient. I think he has room to improve too, still. But he's also he's not. I mean, he may be relatively new to the UFC, but he has a lot of experience already. He's 22-8. So you know, I wouldn't. What are you doing? I was like,
What?
I just looked up and saw your head bobbing, dude. And then you're always in the frame in such a weird way where I can only kind of like see.
I do
like,
it on purpose. Yeah, no, I do that on purpose, dude.
So about Chidi Njokuani, he might be a finished product, but I would really like to see him expand on that a little bit more, and like I said, work on that jab. Or I mean, here's the thing: I'm not going to assume that Chidi Njokuani doesn't know how to throw a jab. That would be so fucking disrespectful of me.
Probably does, for sure.
I think somebody in his corner needs to tell him, like, hey, this Duraev guy, he's not in range for what you want to hit him with, and you need to use your jab, and you know, let's change up the game plan a little bit, because I think that Chidi has what the fuck you for bobbing your head. Because I think Chidi can still be a really, really exciting player.
Yeah.
In this middleweight
He's had
division
some
for a
good
long
fights.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, super entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Super entertaining, man.
So, Brandon, I watched the highlight of the CJ Vergara Daniel Da Silva comeback, but I didn't see the whole fight. I didn't watch any of the prelims. So, if there's anything you wanted to touch on there, this is actually a short card.
There wasn't a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I purposely didn't really watch too much of this card.
I feel that this card really, looking at the canceled bouts, this card should have been so much better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was doing the same thing. And then like that cancellation that came like right. Well, God damn it, which one was canceled? You had mentioned
Alex Perez and Manel Cop.
That was a good one.
The line of this fucking the week. Your DNA is an abomination, dude.
Damn, dude.
Manel Cop going in on Alex Perez, and I really understand the frustration, because we were looking at Alex Perez's record and all of his history of canceled bouts, and I'm looking at it again right now. So he, going back to 2020, Alex Perez has 2 losses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 canceled bouts against the likes of Manel Cop. He left him hanging. He's left Kai Kara France hanging, Amir Albazi, Askar Askarov, Matt Schnell 3 times. Oh, get out of here. Askarov again, Machinel 4 times, Brandon Moreno, Kai Kara France twice. Yeah, so he was given an opportunity against all of the top guys at this division, man. So yeah, at this point, and his losses came to Alexandre Pantoja and Davison Figueiredo. So I mean, when he can get in there, he's a top flyweight. You know, he's definitely a guy to see. But dude, it's just, I feel for the opponents and having to deal with that. And Manel Kopp to go through an entire training camp and have your fight canceled on the day of, and most of his fights, or quite a few of his fights, were canceled on the day of. So
yeah, they were trying to call Askarov, but I guess he didn't pick up the phone. You couldn't hear the
oh, you're just sitting there thinking,
got him.
Okay, I'm looking at some of the liner notes.
He just showed up. Where you at? And then he's like, he canceled. He's like, son of a bitch.
Oh, I want to hear your inner monologue sometimes. And be like, all right, can you shut the fuck up so I can make this Askarov joke? Like, looking at some of them though, Kai Kara France was the one who was injured in their most recent one. Askarov withdrew on one of them, so they're not all his fault. But
just put him in a fucking. That was like, dude, don't come back. No wonder he doesn't want to come back and fight. Dude.
Future champion Alexandre Pantoja. Yep. All right, man. We can end this one early.
Yeah.
We don't have a card this weekend, so we got a weekend off. Doesn't mean anything for us because we still have to do a breakdown episode.
They were mentioning someone, what was it, MMA on Point, which is, you had brought it to my attention, but obviously I've seen they're talking about like what I think one of their latest videos was like what fans hate that they took away. And one was like, and I completely forgot, they used to have Wednesday night fights. Remember? It would be like 2 or 3 fights on Wednesday nights on like Field TV or Spike TV. They would have like prelim level fights and you could just watch them.
Drag of a cigarette.
Yeah.
Wednesday night fights. Haven't heard that name in years.
It was like Wednesday night fights, because then they would basically have the prelim card on Wednesday, or the early prelims on Wednesday night, and then the prelims and the regular card on a fight night, and then that would be it. And then you get a week off, and then you get a full week off, and then it would be the UFC, the pay-per-view. You can get like one pay-per-view a month or whatever it was.
Yeah. I miss when it was just one pay-per-view and one fight night a month, because that was like the perfect schedule, because you basically had 2 weeks of lead-up time for everything to get excited for stuff. Because right now, no fight really gets marketed or advertised until the very week of now, especially since they pretty much, I mean, this one coming up will have a little bit more time to stew, but everything else just, it's on to the next card after, everything's wrapped up. Yeah, I miss it. Remember Facebook prelims? Did you watch any Facebook prelims?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that they said that the streaming service that I use now, they used to just, it would all get kind of rolled into one. But yeah, I remember they had that.
Have you noticed, and this is weird, but especially when they're doing Apex cards, that between fights or between rounds even, that they'll just put up this generic, like, we'll be right back, like, screen. And Mike's the one that pointed it out to me, because I kind of, for a while, I don't know if I just thought that my totally legit and legal streams that I was watching fights through, I thought that was just like, I thought that was maybe thrown on by the streamer or wherever it's being streamed from.
The one that I had the cat that like bobs its head.
Cat jab.
And my kids love that. I call them and I go, hey, he's on. Yeah. And then you just see them all.
Cat jab fucking rules, dude. That's the stream. Yeah. I'm not gonna say what's
on the Super Bowl.
Website.
On the Super Bowl, they brought out, like, for halftime, they brought out like all these other ones. They had like that dog. You posted the meme where it was that wiener dog playing the piano.
Yeah, during football or most of the season. Well, they didn't do it so much this past season, but last year, pretty much any football game you'd be watching, they would have the Cat Jam halftime show where, for like once ever, during the Cat Jam halftime show, like the chat wouldn't be full of like super racist, homophobic comments.
There's I still use them from time to time, and it's off of a APK app. That for football, I don't know whoever the guy does it is like chef's kiss. For football, he cuts the commercials or halftime to Red Zone. Do you ever watch Red Zone?
No, I don't watch Red Zone now.
Dude, if you watch Red Zone, it's like straight crack, dude. Red Zone is pure crack for football because it's every scoring. Anytime a team gets into the literal red zone, they just put it on there. So if like there's 2 teams in the red zone, they'll have double screen. If there's 3 teams, they'll have triple. They'll do 8 screens. So it's like all going at once. And then every touchdown, you'll see every touchdown. So like if this team scores,
exactly what I need for fantasy.
Or if it was created for fantasy football. Dude, so if the Niners aren't playing, I just watch Red Zone. And you see every game. You literally get to see every game because
and I can get this through my cable provider?
Yes, that's correct. And it's on the same cable provider that I know you and I know about Cat Jam through. So
Oh, is that their premium service? Or
what do you mean?
Because I know that site that they have Cat Jammers, they have a paid version. Yeah. And I never really, I've always thought to myself, who the fuck pays? But
you can get it on their introductory site.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll have to have you like give me a card of someone you know and have a nice door-to-door sales guy come to my door and sign a contract and do it all.
But there's one that's not on the Cat Jam site. It used to be through Reddit, but now they like branched out. So now commercials and halftime, they cut to Red Zone. I don't know how the guy does it. It's amazing.
Well, that's cool, Brandon. Let's put a bow on it. Thank you for joining me again for this episode. This kind of weird thrown together episode. Sorry for the internet connection problems. But the listeners won't really hear much.
How funny, right? last bit, and I'm going to throw this in, sorry. How funny, I was just reading it before we started, was Ortega was saying, like, I won't fight Ilia Topuria because he needs to get to my level. And Ortega hasn't won in 5 years. He has not won in 5 years, and he just fumbled one of the one of the baddies. He fumbled a legit bat. The guy's been taking losses for a while.
One of the baddest of the baddies. Yeah. Brian Ortega is 1-3 going back to 2018 with his only win coming against Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, in 2020. So pretty brave of him to be mentioning Ilia Topuria's name. But I mean, I at least criticize fighters for ducking up and coming contenders, and it's probably not the time for him to be talking shit. Like anybody needs to get on T-City's level, but
it's Topuria's like, I'll fight Josh Emmett. That's fine. Fuck you. Like whatever.
You're not gonna get any buzz off of me. I think that would be the smarter call out for him to fight Josh Emmett too, because for as much as we can sit here and shit on Brian Ortega, he is still a high-level submission threat, and we've seen that Ilia Topuria likes to get things done on the ground too, and I don't think he would want to go to the floor with Brian Ortega. But still,
you have your cat here. Did you see the video of Hasbullah fucking torturing the cat?
I saw the headline. I haven't watched the video.
Oh my god, dude, that sucks. That guy's gone.
I right before you jumped into the stream, before we started today, I was watching your video, the little AI compilation,
the reel,
and the reel.
There's a lot on there, dude.
The one that I was dying. Like I had to turn off my camera and mute my microphone because I thought you were probably gonna jump in while I was like crying, laughing. The one where it's like I got my work clothes laid out, ready to get back.
The Chuck E. Cheese Monday. I thought you were gonna say the Paul Walker Hot Wheels. Where that was chaotic, dude.
Oh man, that was a lot, dude. I love how much of it was Fight Plug oriented too. There was some stuff that was just, why is there just a random picture of the guy from H3H3 just looking off?
I hate that guy, dude. Ethan Klein.
Yeah, Ethan Klein. That was just the worst photo of him.
Dude, there's something for everybody. That chick just ralphed up a pickle. What else was there? God damn. I don't even know. Because there was some that I put together, and then because some of those I don't even remember. Because I have a ton of drafts on my thing, or I'm currently, I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't posted a ton because I'm currently under community guidelines right now.
You don't say. I wonder why, dude. Oh, that's fucking funny. Did somebody report you, or was that just Instagram's own
I don't know. I think someone, I know I've been reported twice. I think I know who it is.
Fucking haters, dude.
Dude, for real,
be your own people.
Dude, I'm private. I'm a private account.
Yeah.
So, and I've literally had arguments with family members, unfollow me then. Just fucking unfollow me. I'm not gonna stop. And so I get even more crazy. Oh man.
That's funny. This is what you're posting, knowing that family are following you on Instagram. Yeah. I'd like to see what you would post if you were really just completely ambiguous. Because there've been times I pull up your Instagram stories and I'm just like, oh,
just people dying.
I'm watching people die.
Dude, my sister was had a come to Jesus speech with me. She's just like, what is wrong with you, bro? And I was like, you should see this shit I don't post. You should see some of that shit.
That guy that got shot in the head in the car. Oh my gosh. This is an example of one that Brandon didn't post on his feed, but he just decided, I'll just share it with Kenny.
What was on that reel was the 9/11 pack. Those fucking because they always have those exotic fucking weed bags at the dispensaries. So it was a Twin Towers shaped fucking weed bag or whatever. Oh man.
Suwoo.
Jesus Christ.
All right, folks.
Work no breath. Suwoo.
All right, folks. If you want to see people,
they walked so I can run, dude. When your mom's house was the shit. Oh man.
I was listening to their recent episode, and for the first time in a while, I hadn't really listened to YMH in a bit, and it was funny.
Well, Tom Segura is on.
Tom Segura,
so it's gonna be funny.
Yeah, he's still hilarious, but man, I really, really can't do it with Christina P anymore, dude. And
I don't blame you.
I've griped about it before. Dude, she was talking about how she couldn't or didn't understand the difference between a tiger and a lion today. Or I guess that had been something that they had been talking about before. It's you are not a fucking cartoon character, woman. You know the difference between a lion and a tiger. Did I get disconnected again? Right as I was going on my rant about Christina P. Son of a gun. All right, it looks like my internet issues are going to persist, so I'm going to go ahead and take that as a sign that we should just go ahead and put a bow on this episode and call it done. It was a fun episode anyways, a lot of laughs. Thank you if you made it this far for joining us for yet another episode of the Fight Plug podcast. If you liked this episode, please consider liking and subscribing as always so you don't miss any of our future content. And we will see you in the next one where we'll be breaking down UFC 287, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira 2. That's a numbered pay-per-view, obviously, so there's going to be a lot to talk about on that one, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Until then, have a good night, day, morning, evening, whatever the heck you're listening to this. Love you, and see you in the next one.